Ready?
All right, what's up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in. People that was watching this. Today's topic is going to be dealing with death. I had a couple of guests that I thought were great for it, but like Terry mentioned earlier, it's a touchy subject, so people not in the mind frame of, you know, having a discussion right now. Be it how traumatizing the events were that happened, or just how they feeling today. Like we having a bad day. Well, I'm having a crazy day, but I mean, y'all want to kick it out and elaborate how y'all deal with it?
I mean, I feel like there's no right or wrong way to deal with death. I feel like it's just a healthy way and an unhealthy way. Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I feel like whatever moment you in when it happens takes takes part of it. And I feel like how you cope with it in the moment is how you gonna deal with it throughout the whole situation. If that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I realized
Um,
that. I realized that when I got older, dealing with it, it intensifies the moment.
I mean, as a kid, you don't really know somebody
Exactly.
there. You think they sleep. I'm like, mommy, he ain't sleep. Son, wake up. It's, you get older, it's like, whoa, coming back from that.
Yeah.
Kind of how Biggie felt when he heard Tupac got shot. He was like, whoa. He
He's a
took a
grown
minute.
dude. Yeah.
Right. He was like, dang, ain't no coming back from that, man. I remember when I heard Michael Jackson died. I was at work and somebody, April, rest in peace, April. She passed a few years ago. She came over to me and was like, yeah, Terry, yeah, you're on the news. Michael Jackson went to the hospital. I'm like, yeah, I hear so much. Nah, kept it moving. Later in that day, she was like, yo, Terry, he dead. I was like, huh? Michael Jackson? She was like, yeah. I kind of went in the bathroom. I was like,
Hey, you remember everybody like stuff like that. You remember where you were, what you were doing,
yeah, I was
and
at
stuff
work
like
with
that. You definitely remember stuff like that.
just like when Tupac died. I was in Marshall Middle School. Ooh, I was in home ec, what they call it, home ec anonymous.
Home
Yeah.
economics.
Yeah, I was in that class full of ladies. But hey, facts. Um, they were
I,
crying so bad.
it was like they knew him.
I was like the only person they can lean their shoulder on. So I felt like I had 10 girlfriends that day.
Oh
Because they were
God.
like, Tupac was my favorite. He was my man.
I used,
I
I
was just
swear
like,
I used to love home ec too. It's all right.
come here, I got you. I know. I was my homie. All eyes on me, remember? Come here. So yeah. Um, then you have some people that go through depression where they just don't understand. Because when someone dies, the saying is always like, God took them away. So like they're questioning God at that point. And if they don't feel like there's an answer, and they get depressed. They start drinking. They start doing random drugs that make them feel different to forget about it. Me personally, I just drink a bottle of Hennessy and pour a little bit on the ground. And at that moment, I used to just smoke. So then I did that, and that kind of was okay. Um, I think the last time I actually like broke down crying for real, like when Devon died in 2016. I was just like,
And
cause he
who
was a
was
young
that,
dude.
if you don't mind me asking?
Uh, Close friend, man. We met working together. I knew him when he was like 16. He died when he was like 23, 24ish. Um, but like he trained to be a manager, man. He was a good kid, had a good heart. He was going to school, going to college. He was becoming a man, grown man. And I had just moved into my house, and he was supposed to come over. Like we had talked on a Saturday, and he was supposed to come over on a Monday. He got in an accident Sunday night. And I didn't find out until Monday. I was looking for him. He was supposed to come over, so I'm making a whole bunch of calls. I'm calling all those people that I know that know him, whatever, trying to connect dots. And come to find out, he's at the hospital. So I went to the hospital, and they were like, "Yeah, you can't see him." So I remember looking at the room. You know, I'm not going to say exactly what it said, not a respect for him and his family, but I looked at the room. I just went to my car and just started praying, and he didn't make it. And I can remember coming home that night, just sitting in the bathroom with my head down on the floor, just crying, like just asking God, like, man, why him? You know, why the good one had to go? And man, like to this day, I still like, matter of fact, right here, I dedicated my bar to him. You know what I'm saying? So he still live with me, you know. But he was supposed to be here and help me set that up, man. It just didn't work out like that. But for me, I take death as now. After that kind of happened, I kind of just take death as it's their time. You know, it's their time to go. It's God want them to come. You know, it's their time.
Right. And then that's the way I look at it now that I'm older, because I basically really never really had what do you call it, what's a typical family. So, the family I did know got broken up by death. Everything, it's like two members of us left right now. Three of us, not right now, that I had to lose. This is starting at a young age. Another factor with how you deal with things, how I learned to deal with death, is my environment. I've seen a lot of things happen in my lifetime where the average person wouldn't want to see. I've seen people murdered with my own eyes, and it's just, well, in the environment I was in, you had to keep it moving. It happens. You had to be desensitized towards it, but it's always different when it's your people on the ground. That's
Yeah.
something you never can get used to that. I had to watch that. My own people, I lost a brother near and dearly. So it kind of, it played a part, negative and positive, I have to say, because I started out at a young age dealing with certain things, coping with certain things. Then right at the moment when I thought I had everything mapped out and everything, I lose my mom in December. That was like my everything. So right now, it's really a touchy subject, but it's good to talk about it for the simple fact. Maybe somebody can watch this that's going through the same thing, get
Right.
something from it. You know what I'm saying?
I think one of the hard things that people have with death too is just because it's an absence. It's a black space where you don't know what it is really. You don't know what happens after you die. You just know that person don't exist with you
Yeah,
physically.
it's a void that's missing.
Yeah, and it's for some people, they try to find closure and trying to deal with it. I was just thinking of, as y'all was talking, like going through what they call like the 7 coping mechanisms, or the 7 stages of how you deal with death. It's first like denial and you being in shock, and then it start going to like you feeling guilty about yourself, or if it's especially people close to you, it's like, what did I do? What could I have done to save their life? And then you get a stage where you're angry, and then you go through depression, and then when you come out of it on the other side, it's more of like, okay, you accepting that it happened, and you learning to move on, learning to move with it and stuff like that. So I think everybody may not be on the same plane when it comes to those stages, but I think we all do feel them at one point in time. You go through them type of stages.
Yeah, that's definitely, and to be aware of something is very, very, very helpful too, because your coping mechanism might work for you, but it might not be healthy. So in all reality, it's not really working for you. It's just putting a delay behind the problem fix.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, it's a healthy way to deal with it, and then you got your non-healthy ways, because some people are like, well, I drink the pain away, and then that may work for that one time, and then you try to do it again the next time, you end up drinking and driving, or doing something crazy, And that's just, you know, you got to find healthy ways to cope with it. And, you know, I feel like there's no right and wrong. It's just, you know, it's whether you do it healthy and, you know, or unhealthy. Something that's toxic for you or something that's good for you and something that's not good for you.
Also, having a good support team is a key too. Because believe it or not, some people think you can't go through it alone.
Mm,
You gotta have positive people around you at all
that's
times. Because I mean, a lot of times you might seem fine, but you're not. And some people are good at hiding that fact. You know, some people can't. And that's why I say you never know what somebody's going through after the fact or something. And then sometimes you see some people going through tragedies and like it's just like, well, you know, hey, you know, it's not that.
Yeah, man. The thing is, you know, death hits everybody differently, and it's hard to be able to help someone ease the pain because you don't even know what they're feeling in the moment. So like the best thing for me is like, if you know, for me for a long time, and I was just like, somebody died, I just kind of would be like, just hold it in and just kind of just keep moving forward as if I didn't even have that conversation with somebody saying that somebody passed. But like I just said, I mean, the last time I like experienced, you know, we lost an uncle, we lost an aunt, lost a few other family members throughout the years,
good.
but cousins, yeah, it's just sometimes certain deaths just hit you differently, man. Hit you weird, and it's like you just really can't even function. Your mind just shuts down, man. Whatever you were thinking at that moment, however your day was going at that moment, whatever conversations you were having, it just kind of like it's just put on froze, and then you just kind of stuck in a mental froze, and you just don't know what to do from that moment. So it's
And
always best. Yeah, it's always best to have a shoulder to lean on. As much as you know, for men, as much as for like us men, we don't like to cry. We don't like to have emotion. We don't like to show pain. We don't like to show feelings when it's, you know, when in certain situations. I just feel like when certain people die, man, put that all aside, man. Just take your, you know, your head and bow down and lean on somebody, man, because something crazy can happen, man. And I feel like for me personally, if I wasn't in a situation where I can lean my head on somebody, man, I don't know if I would be sitting here right now. You know, I see a lot of people kill themselves because of death. You know what I'm saying? I've had friends where their husband died in a car accident and they went and ran out in traffic and killed themselves because they couldn't see a life without them, man. So it's like, I don't think that other person that dies will want you to feel that you have to do that, but that's kind of how some people be thinking in the heat of the moment, man. So it's always important for somebody to be around someone when they're going through that, man, because you don't know what.
that's true. And a lot of times you see people's true colors too, which
Yeah,
makes it worse, which makes it 12 times worse.
Mm.
That's that same person. Call me if you need anything. It means don't call me.
Mm-hmm.
Or what's wrong, just to know what's wrong. That's it. Maybe so they could go around and tell somebody else. You know, I mean, I've dealt with it and I've seen it first and foremost, firsthand. I mean, people are crazy when it comes to that type of thing. That's why it's always important. Like, it's not very many people you can go to or have your back happen when you down like that genuinely care about you. I mean, and I'm speaking like as far as family wise or friends. It's not too many people that, you know, that close knit. I mean, during the years, my family's getting better, but it was a point in time when it was what it was. We're just related strangers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, tragic moments change people for sure. Even the slightest money changes people. Sure. I just feel like what also kind of messes you up too is not only like the person, you know, the death, but just how they die. Like, um, I've had two friends that committed suicide in the last two 3 years, and it's almost kind of like, dang, I would just rather you had a peaceful death, you know, just die in your sleep or something than to just rather you us here, you know, or people here that you had to take your life and exit out of here because you was unhappy or for whatever reason of them committing suicide. I just feel like, or, you know, when people murder in cold blood and, you know, people not unexpected death, you know, stuff like that. I definitely think it hits people in different ways when you hear somebody OD'd or, you know, stuff like that versus, oh, you know, they just, you know, died in their sleep, you know. People that's been dying due to COVID, it's all been just difficult to kind of just, you know, process the ways that these people have been dying.
Well, you said something too. Suicide is really, really one of those things that really racks your brain when you never know. It comes from way left field. Like, there was a manager that I knew. He used to work. Um, he had everything going for him. Had wife, new baby on the way. Just got a promotion. Next thing you know, I see a Facebook post, which I did not believe to this day. It's like, if I kill myself, it's nobody's fault. Then I'm thinking,
that's, to be honest with you, that's true to an extent, but you don't know what somebody go through in life that led them up to the point where they kill themselves. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm pretty sure all of us had like that friend that went through a point in their life where they just wanted to leave this earth. But it's up to us as their friend to kind of, you know, change the direction of how they're feeling. But at the end of the day, it's no matter what we say or how we go about it, we can't change what somebody wants to do mentally. They have to want to do that. That's just like with a kid and you discipline a kid, man. You can tell them, hey, don't do this, X, Y, and Z when they get older. But it's really up to them what they choose to do. It's their path. You can always be there, that guy in their ear, but you can't control or dictate the moment after. And, you know, some parents put a lot of heat on themselves because they're like, man, I did everything I could. And then they turn out like that. At the end of the day, that person has their own mind and their own path of what they want to do. So, you know, it's the same thing if somebody wants to take themselves out of the earth. It's, you know, it's whatever was going on in their life to let them to that point where they just didn't feel like they wanted to be here anymore. And it's sad that it's like that. I mean, because I believe we all have had some friends where they killed themselves, and it's just sad that it goes out like that. But me as a friend to somebody that's going through that, the best thing I can do is try to like tell them that, you know, it's more to life than live from than that moment that you stressed out about, you know what I'm saying, whatever's going on in that moment. But, you know, at the end of the day, me personally, I would never hang that over my head that there was nothing I can do to change that. It's because you really can't, no matter what I say, you know.
Well, and also the type of relationship that you have with them. Say if it's a friend, okay, yeah, no, I mean, you didn't know nothing you could really do, but just a game changer. What if it was like an ex-lover or something that, you know, y'all, it went downhill after the fact,
Oh,
and it was very, very messy. It ended, but not on their terms.
I mean, I don't wish death upon nobody.
Did you experience something like that? I mean, suppose that something you said. I mean, did you call somebody to like?
I am wondering, like, what? I was looking like, wait a minute.
Because of a bad circumstances. I mean,
The
man.
camera was lagging. Don't do me.
Share. We own it for sure.
I'm all ears.
No, I mean, if I love that person, I'm always gonna love that person. So I mean, hey.
Facts. Okay.
I feel like that's still gonna hit me as just as much as it will be almost my friend. It'll feel like a more of a distant kind of love, just because, especially when you're not connected with that person as far as recently and who they are. But that's just like when you lose a childhood friend that you haven't talked to in a while, but that was somebody to you. You know what I'm saying? That still kind of, it just hits you in a different way. You might have, well, like I was saying, the 7 stages of, you know, coping, and you might get to anger and then have to go back to shock, like, dang, I'm mad they died, and then you get back like, I can't believe so-and-so gone. Like, I can't call them no more, or I can't even go look on their Facebook and see a new post, you know. I feel like you might go through the stages a little bit differently, but I still think it'll hit you the same.
You
Oh,
know,
go
go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go.
You know when like your significant or what you're referring to, like an ex or somebody that you had like some type of love for. I've been through one of them situations where I dated a chick, you know, we had like 2-3 years in, and it just kind of went sour apples, and they end up getting in a different situation with someone else, and they end up killing themselves around their son and daughter, and I heard about it, and the first thing that I kind of thought about was not the moment that happened, was just to think about the good times that like we kind of had, to like keep some positivity in my mind, because you know the first thing I could have thought, like, damn, I shouldn't have let her go, or damn, we should have tried to work it out, damn, it's my fault, damn, I fucked up, something I could have did, even though she was in a whole nother situation with somebody else, you know what I'm saying? But so I agree with you saying it hits you, it hits you the same, but it kind of hits you a little differently because your heart was involved in it, you know what I'm saying? And you right, you know, you always gonna have some type of love for people that you dated. And I'm not sitting here trying to sit here and say like I still love anyone like that. You know, let me put some facts on the table. I am gonna say that if I spent, you know, a portion of my life with you, you know, no matter if it was good, bad, you know, it's always gonna be love, because you have to appreciate the moment that you're in. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a different moment in life now. We're all in different moments, but you always have to appreciate that moment that you had, and whoever was in that. You know, I could have had a couple friends that's been around 5-6 years, and then we just stopped talking. I'm not gonna be mad that I'm not talking to them today. I'm gonna be more so appreciating the moment that we were friends, because my thing of it is something could have happened in them 5 to 6 years that could have turned the page of my life differently. So why would I look at that like as a bad thing that we're not talking no more? Granted, it might be, you know, upsetting, whatever, but I've always lived the thing of this in my life. I've always looked at things like, if you can't fix something that was broken with screws and, you know, tape and glue, then you got to do what's best to move forward, because you know, if you stand at a standstill, you'll be losing time in your life, and time doesn't stop for nobody. So that's how I look at that. And please, exes out there, I don't want y'all to think I, you know, still got love for y'all, but you know, it's all love, just not in love. So.
Waiter, please. Check, please. No, what I was gonna say was, and just before you answer, just take a moment of silence. But
is it like I need to get a shot?
What's so life-threatening and so tragic about death? Like, why do we treat death like this? Why do we have to go through these emotions? Why can't death be treated almost as life, a certificate of life or something? And like kind of a slash button to the question. If it's so bad that it causes people to, like, you know, like you were saying, people go through mental illnesses, depression, people get suicidal. When somebody, you know, is leaving this earth in the physical, I'm just gonna say physical form, because, you know, death pulls in, you know, morality, religiousness and all of that. So when somebody's physically leaving this earth, as far as we know, because we don't know too much about death except for the fact that somebody's leaving the earth in the physical form that we no longer see them.
That's a good point, because that's the reason. It's a lot that's not known as well. You can't really guarantee what happens after that moment.
But we can't guarantee these next 5 moments. Why are we living like that when death happens?
To be honest with you, to answer your question, I think that starts off from when we grow up. You know, we should be, you know, and now that you said that, that's the way I'm going to go about when I raise my son. Don't look at death as a saddening moment in life, look at death as, hey, this person was on this earth for this amount of time. Let's celebrate the moments that we had with that person. Because I even remember being at one of the last funerals I went to where the lady was like, we shouldn't be here with our heads down. We shouldn't be here all hurt and torn. You know, God has took this man for a reason. We should celebrate the time that we had and celebrate the greatest moments that we had in that person's life. And, you know, to what you just said, is a lot of people don't think about it like that. The moment somebody dies, what you think happens? They start crying. Their life is over. They don't know what to do. They want to die. They want to kill themselves. They can't be here no more. They yelling and screaming, God, why? All that's going on. In all honesty, man, you can just be like, you know, he passed. Damn, that's up. But hey, let's celebrate because he's in a better place.
A lot of people don't realize funerals aren't for the dead person. They for us, the living people.
Right.
People don't realize that. Once you get a wind of that, it took me forever to realize that too myself. But once you get a wind of that, you get a better visual of how things are really, because they can actually care less wherever they are. They're not in that shell anymore.
Yeah. I want to say, you know, to the people that's watching this, and not just for us, of course, we're talking about it, but you know, if you're experiencing that, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, we don't have no sympathy or anything for what's going on in your life, but also just know that you're living and you can't control what happens in the next 3 moments. We can't control what happens after we exit off this video, you know, God forbid, but you know, you just want to enjoy the time that you have with the people you know, and just it's all about acceptance. It's not that, you know, I'm saying you can't cope and deal. It's just I feel like people use death as this, you know, this downward negative thing when it's really not, I think, supposed to be, you know, anticipated and, you know, reciprocated by you supposed to be thinking of all this tragic, you know, moments and stuff like that and negativity. I think it's just made to look at as you don't know what tomorrow is going to hold for you. So why don't we act like how we act when people die, like how we should be acting for the tomorrow? Like, we don't know what's going to happen for tomorrow. You don't see us waking up going crazy, like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be alive. I don't know this. And we don't act like that. So why do we do that when death, you know, enters your life? When death's been going around, you know, people die every day. Somebody probably just died just now. We not acting crazy because we don't know who just died. So it really only happens when somebody hits you that's close in your inner circle, or someone that you have known a name from. Because, you know, people we don't know are dying and we not mourning their death. You know what I'm saying? You don't wake up and say, Lord, sorry for the people who died. You know, do you, I mean, you may. But I'm just saying, you know, we don't think about it until really it hits us in our inner circle.
Well, with that being said, a lot of times, though, if anybody's paying attention or watching this, though, too, is people give your people, your loved ones, their flowers before they're gone. You know, it'll take a big less toll on you after the fact. You're not gonna be running around acting a fool at a funeral, you know, just because, you know, I mean, you feel bad about a certain thing the way you could have been. Y'all know, see, everybody got one in their family. I don't know, that's why y'all laughing.
Yeah.
Everybody got the yeah. Everybody got one in their family.
Yeah, I know.
It's always a moment of silence. That's why I'm like, it's always, you just gotta, it's a deep breath that you just gotta take, because you're just like, okay, I have to accept, you know, I will no longer see this person in the way I think I'm going to see them, but we don't know what, honestly, y'all, we don't know what, it's so crazy. It's like you could die and then see all the people that you know, then died or something, and after you die, you don't really know where that even takes you. You just really just know that person that you see in this physical form won't be doing the walking around that they will. You don't know how anything else will end after that. But I feel like as tragic as everyone takes death, I feel like that's the same way you should be living your life. That's the same way you should be doing, you know what I'm saying, the stuff that we do every day, as far as you wake up, live your life like it's tragic, you know? do the stuff that you wouldn't do, or like you said, give flowers to people before they did, before they no longer exist. But the thing is, you don't know when anybody no longer exists. So why don't people take life as serious as they take death?
When you're right. When the latter is inevitable, you guaranteed that you going. No ifs, ands, or buts. So it should be a very serious. I mean, that's true.
Yeah. I just know that now that I thought about it and I listening to this conversation and being in this conversation, I know that even for myself, I gotta start celebrating. Not like that I'm happy that somebody died or whatever, but like more so looking at it as, okay, they passed. I'm hurting, but at the same time, man, we had a heck of a run. That should be the mindset, because it's too many people torn over the situation, and then they just stop moving like their life is supposed to stop because that happened. And a lot of times that is what happened. People lose focus and sight on what they got going on because of that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, and that's true. And another thing, though, too, seeing my mom during the stages of her cancer she was in, it helped me realize like she's not suffering anymore. That's a big help for me. That's a big one for me. That really, really, really helped me out a lot, because I mean, true enough, I miss her, but I don't want her to be suffering. So
Don't
that
make
means,
me cry.
but hey, look, don't feel bad. I held back a couple
yeah,
ones too.
I couldn't, man, I couldn't imagine like what would happen like if my mom's passed. As much as I'm sitting here saying like, yeah, we should
You
just,
would live your life.
yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I don't know.
I know, but you gotta take that hole out of your lungs, your throat, and stop thinking I can't
If there
imagine
was
my
a
life
hole,
without
if
it.
there was a hole in my lungs, I don't think I would be here right
I'm saying that gap that's allowing you to shut up. I'm saying it's that the exhale that you're taking to allow yourself to say that. Take
Well,
that away.
it's I mean, like, but that's the main thing though. Like, I mean, I can understand under any other circumstances, and then I had time to mentally prepare myself, because it was years. She fought a good fight for years, so in my head I was mentally prepared for the best and worst. Closer to the end, I felt like I was prepared, but I mean, I wasn't much as I thought I was. But I guarantee you, that's what kept me solid though. And then having good people around me too, kept pushing me, because I'm the type that I have to stay busy when I'm going through something. I can't just sit and wallow in it.
So going through that, do you have children? You mind me asking?
Yeah, I got a 7-year-old right here, and I got an 8-year-old, and then I got an 18-year-old.
Okay, so do you feel like if you were to leave this earth today, have you mentally prepared your children for death?
No, and I know that for a fact, which is inevitable. But I mean, it happens to a lot of us. Don't. It's a level to where it's a conversation and other actions that have to be had.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, it happens, or it could be anybody else. Like, fortunately, they've been through it. They understand it. They can grasp it. They got actual grasp of what happens, what goes on, especially with that grandma. And then my daughter, she had a family member. My oldest, she had a couple family members that passed or whatever. So they have an idea of it, but the specific fact of me, no, we haven't had that conversation.
Yeah, and that's why I said like after this, I'm definitely gonna make sure that conversation happens some point in my son's life.
Indeed, and now's the time for me, because that's a good point. I knew it. It's like there. You got to do it. It's a responsible thing to do, and it's just one of those things. Though I don't think I'm alone when I say people procrastinate when it comes to things like that.
Nah.
Sometimes in this world, daddies and mommies have to go. They'll be like, "What? What do you mean you gotta go?"
Then oh man, I would lose it. We'll talk about it later. Well, all right, y'all. I'm gonna wrap this up though. This is actually awesome considering the circumstances.
We
Still,
had some technical difficulties, but we apologize.
yeah, yes.
Uh,
My apologies, and
I
I'll be on
couldn't
it.
see. I couldn't see out my eye. Now I can. So we good.
Okay. All right, y'all.
All right.
Bye.